And folks, welcome to another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown with my man Vance Bedford, who is coming in the room as we speak. And there's the man of the hour, Mr. Vance Bedford. You've been asking for him. Told you he was gonna come back. Vance, in the summertime, you got to go down, get you some time back down in the Lone Star State. Those are your stomping grounds, right, Vance?
Yes, it is. As soon as the snow hits here in Colorado, I head down to Houston, Texas, where my family is. This snow, you can keep it. It's beautiful to look at, but I don't like shoveling snow, Sam. And it hurts your back, your knees, your shoulders, and you get old real fast. Hey, Sam, when you hit 65, or Father Time say, hey, you don't need this. It's cold weather, hurts your knees, brother. I mean, Social Security, thank you. It's been good to me.
Well, I tell you what, man. First of all, you're aging like fine wine, my brother. You know what I'm
Ooh,
saying? I mean,
boy,
you
I
and
love
Freddie
a
J.
good wine now.
Sum up with you and Freddie J. I want to age like you and Freddie J, man. I mean, I got to get some what y'all got.
Well, Fred from Louisiana. I'm right from East Texas. My mom from Louisiana also. There's something about that swamp water down there in Louisiana. Man, it does some amazing things. Hey, I got to tell a story too about my boy Fred Jackson. And Fred, so when I was working there back in the 90s, Fred said, he's a Vance, man, we were dirt poor, man. We didn't have no lotion. So what are you talking about, Fred? So I used to go to school. I asked her on my mom, so you can't go out like that. So back in those days, when you fried things, you kept your bacon grease, right? Fred said, "My mama used to put bacon grease on my legs, so I had to have." She said, "I'm going to school. I got dogs chasing me and everything." And I said, "Freddie J, boy, you sure can't lie." So that
Bacon grease
bacon
for
grease,
lotion.
boy, keep you young.
Bacon grease for lotion, huh? So hey, man,
Yeah.
Freddie
Hey.
J's knees do still be shiny now. I done seen those knees recently. They still be shiny, fans.
Oh, my man Freddie J, that's my man.
All right, folks, listen. We're here to break down the Michigan defense like only Vance can. And this was a really, really good start to the season for the Michigan football for the team, but certainly for the defense and the linebackers. Really going to be focusing on linebacker play today. We're going to get to your questions as well at the end, like always. So if you have questions for Vance, you can start throwing them in the comments right now, and I'll make sure toward the end of the episode to get some of your questions in. A couple of programming notes. First of all, the film studies to kind of give you the schedule. We do the breakdowns first, starting with Devin Gardner on Mondays from 9 to 10. We do that live, as you know. Then from noon to 1 on Tuesdays, Al breaks down the offense after we spend like 12 hours cutting up his plays on, on Monday. It
Oh
takes
my
a long
goodness.
time. Hey man, I told the story, Vance. We cut up one play for an hour. I swear, one play. So we tell it straight at 6. So think about that. It took us an hour for one of 'em.
My goodness,
Hey,
boy.
that's how much Al loves the people, right? And that's how he's like, look, some people want to know. They want to know the levels of how the offensive lineman steps if he sees this certain look, right? So hey, that's how Al gets down, right? But my point, let's get back on the schedule. 9 to 10 on Monday with Devin live, 12 to 1 with Al on Tuesday live, 5:30 to 6:30 on Tuesday with Vance live. As soon as the live is over with Vance, soon as it's over or shortly after, the film study with Devin goes up. And then the film studies with Al and Vance go up on Wednesday. All right. That is the schedule. That is the cadence and the rhythm. We also now, since we don't get anything for the film studies, we want to stay on the right side of the other folks at Veritone and Fox and all of them. We don't get any money for the film studies. That's why I say that. It's not just to throw something out. It's because they'll come after you. Trust me, I know. They will come after you. So, only for entertainment and edification. So, what we've done, we put all this time in. We said, you know what, we just put up a support page. You want to show love to the film studies? Each film study, the film study with Vance has a show love page. The film study with Al has a show love page. The film study with Devin has a show love page. You want to show your love and support? That's how you do it. All right. And last but not least, one more programming note, a new show coming live to you Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. Steady dropping dimes with Devin Gardner and Daniel Horton. We talking all sports. And what they wanted to talk about this week is something I got to give my man Vance a nod for. I was talking to Vance last weekend because Vance, he lives in Colorado. I said, Vance, man, how you think Prime's going to do? I said, man, I know he's going to turn it around. I just don't know that he's going to turn it around right now. And Vance said, Sam, you need to slow your roll, man. Coach Prime got a good staff, and you were on to something, Vance.
Yeah. People keep talking about Prime, but look at his staff. I mean, his offensive coordinator was the head coach at Kent State. He left a head coaching job to be the offensive coordinator, brought his offensive line coach. Okay, the defensive coordinator, I think he came from Alabama. Now, Mike Zimmer, who was the head coach in the NFL for a long time, been a senior advisor for Deion since he's been coaching. Those are the type of coaches they have down there at Colorado. Now, look at the talent level. The little running back who scored four touchdowns, he's known Deion since he's been 4 years old. And if you're a skilled guy, guess who you want to go play for? Prime. Prime don't do a lot of coaching. He does a lot of motivating. He makes them run in practice, that type of stuff. He might coach receivers and DBs. Otherwise, not. You know how many plays he called on game day? The same amount I call on game day. None. All he does, he gets them going. That's what he does. So people look at all the tactics and antics of Prime, they get upset. He got some coaches that can flat out coach. And that's what they're doing. They are coaching their butts off. They did a great job. They really did. My hat's off to them. Right now, somebody told me this morning, a ticket to go right now to Nebraska, Colorado game, $1,500. There's some people who've been Denver Broncos fans trying to get CU game tickets. They want to trade their Denver Broncos tickets for CU tickets. That's how crazy it is right now in Boulder. So if somebody asks me, I want to go to the game, I'm going to the game right in my doggone den right here with my big TV. I don't like crowds and I don't like traffic, so I'm not worried about it. But if Nebraska rushes 3 people like TCU did, Prime going to have another win.
Well, look, they got something for it. If they were mad at Kendall Briles, and we get into Michigan, so just hold up. They were mad at Kendall Briles because Shadur had played at FIU or FAU, one of those FUs he played for. I don't know which one, right? And so he said he didn't get treated well. And guess where Kendall Briles is right now? TCU, right? So they got dealt with. He had 500 yards for him. And he didn't even talk as slick as the coach at Nebraska, Rule. He had all kind of slick stuff to say about Deion. You think they're not about to put it on them? And Nebraska can't complete a forward pass?
I'm trying to tell you. As soon as I found out Kendall Briles was the OC, you should have saw my Twitter. I said, it's over with. See, you got this game because Kendall Briles don't know what a run is. They finally came in the third quarter, finally started running the ball up and down the football field. But when the game was on the line, you know, he did. Went right back to passing. He's not his dad. His daddy could coach.
Yeah, man. Let's get to the Michigan defense, Vance. One of the things that you talked about all last year, and we'll get into in the film study, was the linebacker play for Michigan. In a year where you were very complimentary of the defense, you were telling us on this breakdown, you were telling me when we were just doing our sessions, Sam, they're going to have to clean up linebacker play. Sam, they're going to have to clean up linebacker play. Sam, they're going to have to clean up linebacker play. It wasn't killing them. It wasn't even hurting them that bad when you were saying it. But you were saying they're going to have to clean this up because there's going to come a time where it's going to get them. And Vance, it got them in the TCU game.
It did. The same mistakes we saw in game 3, 4, and 5 with linebacker fits against TCU. We saw the same problems. The difference is when you in a championship game, it goes for 15 yards to a touchdown, you're probably not going to win. And you saw that. And what I saw in the first ball game, the linebackers are a year older. That's number one. I saw a better job of execution. They seem to know where to send the ball to. In other words, if I'm an inside linebacker, I turn it back to my buddy, I try to spill it outside. In this particular ball game versus East Carolina, I saw good fits. I saw guys being what they're supposed to be, and they made some plays. And so I saw some improvement already in game 1 that I didn't see in game 13 versus TCU. So they're heading in the right direction right now.
Yeah, the give them credit for being a year older, a year wiser. Let's not forget that, Junior Colson, he was relatively speaking, compared to, most other guys, he's new to football. He didn't start playing football until he's like 12, 13 years old, right? Mike, Mike Barrett, whose daddy, he was like, tell Vance I'm gonna be watching. Right? He was getting coaching cues from you last year, Vance, to give to Mike. So shout out to Mr. Barrett for coming through and watching us here on the show. But Mike Barrett was a high school quarterback, Vance. High school quarterback, running back, receiver, offensive utility guy. He gets to Michigan. They wind up moving him over to defense. He's at safety, he's at nickel. Then he settles in at linebacker. So he's new to the linebacker position. Both these guys are excellent athletes, but you understand where, the instinctive part of the position probably takes some time to pick up. Now it feels like they have that. So the athleticism and the IQ are matching up.
See, I hear what you're saying, Sam, but I can't totally agree with you. I really can't. Because I'll tell you what coaching is. At game one, if my linebackers make this mistake, okay, that's on them a little bit. Game two, if I'm a coach, they're making the same mistake, that's on me. I'm doing something wrong. If I'm in game five and they made the same mistake they made in game one, either they shouldn't be playing or I'm doing something really wrong with coaching. So I'm just being real with you. I mean, so I understand about instinct. Instinct do take over, but somewhere they were being coached to do something and the fits weren't proper. And so the balls were coming through. And so something was wrong. So therefore, and I don't know what they were doing or who was coaching or how he was coaching. At the end of the day, they made a coaching change at their position because somehow I don't see the video or the films that they have, but what I saw from television copies, something's wrong with the linebackers. And if they're making the same mistakes over and over again, they've been taught that. Mm-hmm. And therefore, it never got cleaned up. And therefore, you have a new coach. As coaching is say not for long lately, there's a whole lot of truth to that. When you have Michigan, it's not for long, you keep doing that. If your player's playing that way, it's not for long, baby. You're on the street. And right now, my man on the street. I wish he and his family the best, but that's just the life. I've been there, done that. That's why I'm sitting on the sideline with a big old light with a donut looking at me right now, smiling. Hey, come on, baby, get to my donate. I need to go buy me some donuts and feed my dog Tiki. Put some money in the till for a brother.
Yeah, okay. So first, Vance wanted some steaks. Now he's saying, all right, still wants some steaks, but he got to feed his dog Tiki too.
Got to feed Tiki. Tiki weighs 14 pounds. Let's go.
Show some love to the film study. Go to the Michigan football breakdown page. Focus on the defense and drop some of that love right there in the bucket to help old Vance out. All right, so Vance, you look at the growth and maturation of different guys. How about the guy who you were the first, you were the early adopter? You say, man, Lil Mike's the man. He said, Lil Mike gonna be really, really good. And next thing you know, you get to the end of the season, Lil Mike making plays all over the place. Now he's a captain. Right now, you talk about a dude who made a smart decision, a business decision, one that is going to serve him well as a pro. Because I don't know that Mike is in the NFL as a receiver. He's going to the NFL as a DB after he gets his work done here at Michigan.
Yeah, man, he'll be an undersized receiver the way receivers are right now. Let's see whether a punt returner, kick returner. I don't see it as a receiver, but a defensive back with the playmaking ability he has, especially playing nickelback. Look at the DB who was at Illinois, was the first round pick by Seattle. Mm-hmm. Started nickelback. They drafted him to be a starting nickelback. Well, little Mike has some of the same attributes. He can go out there and play corner. He can move inside, play nickel. Because he was a receiver, he has great ball skills. I mean, I just love his play. And the biggest thing I'm going to be looking for this year out of little Mike, can he get off a block and can he tackle? That's what the pro scouts will be looking at. If his game picks up that next level where he can get off a block and tackle, and so far he's done a good job, right now little Mike's going to make some money. Just keep doing what you're doing, son. Have fun while you're doing it. Play hard, fast, and smart, and the rest of it take care of itself.
Yeah, so he clearly jumped out in this game. The linebackers, they all made big hits, and rarely were they out of position. Talking about Mike Barrett had a big hit or two in this game. Junior Colson had a big hit in this game. The new kid from Nebraska, Ernest Hausman, had a big hit in this game. You were feeling those guys, right? Just like you felt Mike, little Mike, who was a player of the game. But I tell you what, a guy who didn't necessarily show up in the stat box as much as those guys, but I felt this dude was big number 78. Kenneth
Ooh.
Grant, Vance. I said in the post game, that dude is a grown ass man right now in a young man's body. But he is a load, and not just a load on rundowns. They ran some games up, some twists up front that he came free on. He had a swim move on another play where he came free. The dude is showing that he could be a factor on passing downs too.
I mean, I just going. His nickname for me is 2 tons of fun, baby. He's like a dump truck coming through the middle. If he plays like that the entire year, it's tough on a quarterback because right now he's getting pushed in his face. And I'm gonna go back to my man Tom Brady. The one thing, if you want to beat Tom Brady when he's in the league, you get pushed in his face. He didn't like that because he could never step up. In this particular ball game, the quarterback could never step up. On Mike's first interception, guess what? They had somebody at the quarterback's feet. And that's what you're gonna have right now. I love what we're doing defensively, though. The twist. We talked about that last, if you remember, the first 2 ball games. So we need to twist these guys.
Mm-hmm.
You can't continue a straight pass rush. That's not what they are. So right now, first game, we saw twists almost every other play with the down guys inside. Made a huge difference. It got guys scot free, and they did a great job executing it. You know, I love Mike Elston. Mike Elston did a great job as far as teaching the fundamentals on how to execute those twists. So my hats off to him. But those guys did a great job, man. I love watching these guys play because I'm a Texas grad, played at the University of Texas. I don't see the D-line of Texas looking like the D-line of Michigan. It's not even close. It's not even close. The execution, the footwork, the speed. I mean, it's like they got NFL players playing at Michigan right now up front. They really do.
So we've seen, I think, evidence that they are going to be. You talk about interior play. Mason Graham and Chris Jenkins are problems. Now you say we talking about Kenneth Grant. They got some other guys in rotation. Rayshon Benny, I think, is going to be a really good player. The edge guys. There are no sacks in this game, Vance. Now, part of it is they're getting rid of the ball. ECU's getting rid of the ball quick, so I want to highlight that. But there were some times where they held on to the ball, a few, and the pressure didn't really get there. So we're already getting questions about this. And by the way, if you have questions for Vance, drop them in the comments now. I'll get you some of your questions in toward the end of the episode. But what do you say about no sacks? What do you say to those who ask you, Vance, are you concerned about that? What would you say to those who are asking you, what did you think of the play of the edge guys in this game?
I thought the edge guys are pretty good. There's 2 things. They run a lot of max protection. Let's be for real. A lot of times in 2-back set, they were max protection. So they found ways as much as possible to have 7-man protection. So therefore, sometimes it's tough to get pressure from the edge rushers. A lot of times the backs, they were looking to help the tackles out on our defensive ends. But we had great push inside. That's why it led to a couple of interceptions because of the pressure. Sometimes it's not just about sacks, it's how many times that the quarterback has to move his feet, how many times the quarterback is getting hit. He had to move his feet a lot. He got hit a lot. So the sacks, they going to come. This particular team, this quarterback, he was scared to death. He wasn't going to hold the ball. He was not going to take a sack. The ball was coming out too fast. So the sacks are going to come. There's going to be some teams where they're not afraid of our pressure, and we're going to get some sacks. But what we did up front, the stunts we had, the pressures we had, everything we needed was there. The completion percentage was low. We got a couple of interceptions. The quarterback got hit a bunch. What more can you ask from a down guys? I was highly impressed with how we played in this ball game.
All right. So how about a new name to the mix? So last year I was telling you, I say, Vance, I think number 2, Will didn't play in this. Will Johnson, he was a game time decision, very close to playing. Be surprised if he didn't get some snaps this week, right? Say, well, let's look out for that young fella. In this game, number 3. So number 2 last year, number 3 this year. So talk to Keon Sabb, and is a highly rated guy, originally committed to Clemson, winds up flipping. Looks like a wise decision watching Clemson play. I don't know that Dabo Swinney. Look, Vance, you talk about the staff that Prime has. It really is looking like Dabo has not recovered from Tony Elliott and Brent Venables moving on. They haven't been the same team. since then.
They
So
haven't. But Sam, just think about this. They had 6 years, six of great quarterback play, two NFL players, and not just good quarterback, great quarterbacks who overcame a lot of things. People forget about that. Yeah, they lost the coordinators, but when you got two quarterbacks that they had to do what they did, come on now, Sam. Let's be for real. Since those guys have left, they haven't been the same. So we forget about that.
yeah, no. I didn't forget. Yeah, hey man, you had some all timers, right? I don't know if Deshaun
That's
Watson.
6 to 10. That's 6 years of great quarterback play.
Yeah, I
Two
don't know.
first round picks. Shoot.
Yeah, I don't know if Deshaun Watson will ever be what he was, but he was a champion when he was there. And Trevor Lawrence, they're talking like Trevor Lawrence is already the best. Like, okay, let's let the man do
Yeah.
something in
You give them
Jacksonville.
a chance.
I
That's a
get
wait and see. That's just a wait and see. But since those guys have left the program, they haven't been the same. Yeah, they lost the coordinators, but again, you got to have a trigger man. If you got a great trigger man, you got a chance to have a great football team.
Yeah.
If JJ keeps going the way he's going, you got a chance to have a great football team because you got a great trigger man. That's all part of it. I mean, so right now, Dabo, he preaching all of that good stuff. He might need to go to church more often. He keep talking about how much he go to church. He might have to go a few more times during the week.
Here's the thing, hey man, he thought or he thinks he has one in Cade Klubnik. Cade Klubnik is a big time. Cade Klubnik was the number 2 quarterback in the country coming out, Vance. So this is supposed to be another guy just like that from Austin. From
Sam
Austin,
always said, who put the rankings on these guys to make them 1 and 2? It's not a bunch of coaches. It's a
hey,
bunch of guys who think they coaches. So I never buy into all of that. I mean,
hey, well,
give me a
Dabo
break.
thought he had one. Hey, it was. Hey, this dude's supposed to be so good that he chased the 5-star quarterback that was there before him and made him run all the way to Oregon State. And
Well, you know what? He did a good job at Oregon State. He might need to start running back cross country and get him to come back. That's what he might need to do. I mean, so he got greedy waiting on somebody else, and it got him in trouble. I mean, all that. Well, he was number 2 in the nation. But by whose standards? Who put that? Right? I didn't put my number 2 on him. Yeah. So until he become a sophomore and start playing like he a baller, I don't go for all of that.
all right, so let's get back to Keon Sabb, who decommitted from Clemson to come to Michigan. Number 3, he kind of sits in the wings last year. You also in this game had Rod Morsit, who I know you love, number 19. So that gave number 3 an opportunity to get out there and get some more run. And man, he made the most of it. He made 2 big plays in this game.
Sam, he's a guy that's watching him play. I would love to have a chance to just go to practice and watch him practice. I was highly impressed as far as his pass coverage ability, the 2 pass breakups he had with his back to the ball, never panicked. I mean, that shows a lot of poise, understanding when to run support. Right now, Michigan has so much depth. I don't know how you play all those guys. Because I'll tell you what, if I was a player right now, if I had a broke leg, I would say, tape that sucker up because I'm not giving up my plays. I'm going to have to get back on the football field. I mean, so my man Moore, like, I think I made a mistake. I should have been out there playing. My man right now, he going to get some of my PT time. I mean, but right now, as a coach, I mean, that's something good to have. That one guy goes down, you're not missing a beat. You've been recruiting and done a great job coaching and teaching. I like what I saw out of him. I mean, they're going to be pretty good at that position for a long time to come.
All right, so let's kind of look at the broad strokes before we start getting to the questions from the people. And again, if you have questions for Vance, put them in the comments. Whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, just go to the comments, drop your questions. I'll get them to Vance at the end. But give me what you were really encouraged by in a nutshell from game 1, and then the things that you kind of looked at and you said, you know what, Sam and fans, they need to work on this. They need to clean this up coming out of game 1. What would those things be? Started with what you were encouraged by.
He picked up right where he left off. I mean, the first series, the first third down, we just see pressure. He's an aggressive. Coach Miller is an aggressive play caller. I love what he does. They do a great job disguising. They come from different positions on the field. Different guys are coming. And so that keeps an offense off balance. They got enough twist up front that now it gives time for those guys up front to make plays, not just saying, hey, I'm blocking me. So he takes pressure off those guys. Then in the secondary, they do a great job disguising. They play a variety of guys. And right now, I can see leadership out of Lil Mike. My biggest concern coming to this season, when you lost Big Mozzie inside, you know I love Big Mike. I'm like, you lost two really good football players up front who I thought were leaders of the football team. Right now, in the first ball game in East Carolina, they might be better right now than any time that we were last year up front. And that's scary. So if I'm an offensive team from the play Michigan, I'm like, wait a minute now. They lost these guys, and you lost my man Turner out there at corner, and my man Johnson didn't play. And I saw that, I'm like, ooh, I got to go against that. If I'm UNLV, I'm gonna call in sick. I said, I'm going to the roulette table. I'm gonna bet on the green, the 00. We're not coming. Just send us our money. We already done marked that down because we know right now physically they're gonna beat us down. They played nice versus East Carolina. 33, that was nice. I'm looking at 42 to 2. I don't give them a safety because we're going to drop a ball in the end zone because they get a punt that gets down the 2-yard line. We got a bad snap, and we get set tackle in the end zone. I'm looking at 42 to 2. I'm just saying, Sam. That's all.
You telling me Ickey Woods and Suge Knight not running through the door for you, and Randall Cunningham not running through the door for UNLV, huh?
Let me tell you what kind of chance they got. You see me sitting right here with a knee replacement? They got the same chance I got. And we got to start running 100 meters and say, I'm going against Usain Bolt. That's what kind of chance they got. They better hope lightning strike 5 or 6 times and call the game. That's the only chance they got, Sam. They're going to show up for a payday. That's all. That's all. It's a payday. You know what they're going to get? Some good clam chowder. That's about all they're going to get out of this game.
So, all right, Vance, you always highlight something, even in victory, that they need to clean up. So coming out of this game, what were the things that you saw? And I know we're going to hit some of these things in the film study, but what were some of the things you saw that the defense needs to clean up coming out of this game?
Right now, what I saw, East Carolina had a small game plan. They went to 2 backs for protection, and then they leaking backs out of the backfield. Versus all the different pressures that we have, whether it's a zone pressure or anything like that, they need to understand in coverage when we got a pressure on, who should I cover, who should I not cover? Because one time they had lightning 2 roll. They bring a nickel and a backer from the field, 2 back set. Well, the back to the weak side got out. Nobody was there. So you got to understand, if we're going to bring pressure to the field, that means that guy can't get out. Therefore, linebacker go weak. So they're going to see some more of that. They're going to see FSL or see how you adjust to that. Like we saw last year, we had some issues. So the same thing is going to occur. The next thing is on the zone replay. We got to make sure if you have the quarterback, take the quarterback. East Carolina's quarterback was scared. I mean, you're talking about the ghost of Mr. Chicken, Don Knotts. That's what I saw out of that quarterback. He's scared to death. But down the line, the quarterback going to pull that football. We got to make sure that we execute, have the right guys, take the right guys. You have the dive, take the dive. If you have the quarterback, take the quarterback. And now the young kid, the transfer from, I guess, Clemson, number 5, the defensive end, if you're an edge player, stay on the edge. Just do your job. Don't try to make a great play. I'm not big on guys making great plays. If you do your job, that's a good football play. Therefore, we win. They had a play come out the back end because he tried to make a great play. And we had a linebacker sitting in the C gap. He jumped in the C gap. Things you can get cleaned up. So I think people are going to tackle the zone replay, throwing the ball into the boundary, and see how we handle that. That's what I see going forward.
Yeah, little Mike, you're talking about the half quarter. It was a play I'm sure you're going to point out in the film study where little Mike got caught a little inside. Quarterback didn't have it, didn't keep it. So no worse for the wear, no harm, no foul. But to your point, you got to make sure you're on top of that. And then number 5, yeah, transfer. Not his first game, not making any excuses, Vance. Just giving an explanation. First game as a transfer for the young fella from Coastal Carolina. So little Mike's high school teammate, Josiah Stewart. So we'll see. Let's see what happens game 1 to game 2. Did you always find what they say to be true, that you made the biggest improvement from game 1 to game 2?
You know, you do see some of those things because you get the kinks out. You've been hitting each other all during camp. And so as you get ready to hit somebody else, all of a sudden guys kind of lose their mind, be out of control. The second ball game, they're a little bit more calm. They understand what we have to do, and they go out and execute better, and they take that next step forward. So it's a lot of truth to that. But again, like I say, UNLV, like I say, they coming in just for a paycheck and for a clam chowder. It's going to be a beatdown. I mean, I don't care what you say. You know, JJ, the offense can go up and down the field like nobody's out there, and our defensive line is going to destroy these people. So I expect people talking about sacks. If they want to drop back at all, don't be surprised if we get 4 or 5 sacks in this ball game. So people quit talking about, well, we're not getting any pressure. We got a lot of pressure, but what they were doing, 7-man protection and quick throws, you're not going to get sacks. You just get pressure. We'll get about 4 or 5 sacks. Don't be surprised at that. So again, I'm talking 42-2. People say you got 2 points. Yeah, 42-2. 2. Yeah, I'm calling it right here.
All right, folks, time to start getting to some of your questions for the man, Vance Bedford. Taking around, by the way, I talked to the authors of the new book, Mountaintop, about the 97 championship. I mean, both of the authors, they were like, they talked about all the interviews they had. It's like, man, Vance was outstanding. He was informative. He was hilarious, and he did not hold back. What? Man, I happen to believe when I heard that, I was like, you know what? That sounds like Vance right there. Sound like Vance for sure. All right, let's get to some of the questions for Vance. All right. Let's get to. All right, here you go. Here's one from Nala. Says, Vance, your thoughts on our guy JJ from a defensive coach perspective. What do you think of Mr. JJ McCarthy?
He's a dangerous fellow. First of all, he has a pretty good arm. He has great poise. But what scares me about him is that his mobility. Throwing the ball on the run is pretty accurate. So most defensive coaches, they like a guy who's like the Statue of Liberty, that he can't scramble. So when I pressure him, I don't have to worry about him running. JJ has the escapability that makes you nervous when you pressure him. If you got a gap, and that makes him dangerous. So I think people are going to have a problem with him throughout the year because you got to be concerned about him taking off. If you play man-to-man against Michigan and your back is turned and JJ finds a hole, he can go for about 25, 30 yards easy, get big plays. So I like what JJ is doing. I can see the progress from even the TCU game from last year to this year. He's taking another step already. So I'm excited to see how he continues to progress this season.
Right. And so Nala followed up with another question real quick and said, please address the edge issues. There's this perception that the edges did not play well against East Carolina. It seemed like you disagree with that. I think a lot of that's based on the sacks, but
people talk, you look at sacks. I look at other things. I look at pressures, the quarterback, how uneasy he is in the pocket, how many times he gets hit and he gets knocked down. East Carolina was in max protect. They were in 7-man protection a lot of the game. A lot of times you had quick throws, and quick throws, you're not going to get there. And it's the other teams that Michigan plays not going to have 7-man protection. Those sacks are going to come. We do a lot of different pressures. A lot of times the defensive end would drop. So therefore, you don't get pressure off him. The pressure coming from inside out. So that's not an issue at all. Right now, looking at our guys, athletically, I think they're better this year athletically than what we were at any time last year. So last year, the same questions came up, if you remember. Mm-hmm. We're not getting any pressure. I said, Big Mike, he coming. And he came. So you give him time, all those things are going to happen. I see no problems whatsoever with our edge rushers.
Gotcha. All right. Moving on, Vance. Here's one from Jeff Rook. He says, with such a clear upgrade at linebacker with coaching and depth, how much higher is the ceiling this year? And you clearly, from the start, you believe that the linebacker play and linebacker coaching with Chris Partridge is going to be on another level. So what will that do for the defense if that holds true?
Some of the big plays that hit us last year, I won't see that happening this year. I mean, I think Ohio State, we were playing Ohio State and the ball broke down the sideline because of the run fits. You're not going to see that this year. I think our guys understand what their fits are. The biggest thing is know where your help is. Last year, I don't think they knew where their help was. So if I'm in quarters coverage, I'm going back to that side, I know I got a safety sitting there waiting. I got a backer that I can turn it back to. So I think those fits and the understanding of the game, I think that's going to be a lot cleaner. The fit's going to be a lot better. So therefore, you eliminate some of those big runs right off the top. And again, the players are a year older, so I'm excited. When I saw in the first ball game from our 2 inside linebackers, I was impressed. So going forward, I expect big things from those guys this season.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about that play, that big run play that broke on the left side
Yeah.
where you were like, "Hey, man, the linebacker is not aligned right on this. He's lost before the ball is snapped." You remember the play I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, I do. It went down a sideline. But the problem was about 3 games earlier, I forgot which team it was, the same thing happened. The same thing happened. So nothing changed from that. They didn't learn anything. So to me, I think those things have been cleaned up. I don't see those problems right now. The things I saw in this ball game, Fitz by the 2 inside linebackers, they did a really good job. They did a really good job. So I expect that to continue and to improve. And some of the big plays we saw in the run game last year because of poor run Fitz, I don't see we believe we're gonna see that this season.
Yeah. Okay. Here's one from Kobe Nichols, because you said earlier in the show that Texas alum, right? Texas grad, former Texas DC, coached at Michigan twice. Kobe wants to know who you're cheering for in the game. That's number one, putting you on the spot when they play next year. But the two D lines, you said Michigan's D line right now. You're taking Michigan's D line. These are two top 10 teams. You're taking Michigan's D line over Texas's D line. Is that right?
I am, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I'm super critical of my alma mater because I sit back, Sam. I'm listening to announcers. All I hear from the announcers and on Twitter, oh, how big they are, how big they are. They're big and fat. Okay, don't tell me how big they are. Just because you're going to SEC, you get big. They don't run ISO anymore in SEC. They run spread in the SEC also. And so being big, and I don't see the athleticism I see with the guys I see at Michigan. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the Texas defensive line is bad by any means, but we're gonna find out as the season goes on. Can we rush the passer at Texas with them so-called big guys? Well, he's 335 pounds. He threw. You know what? Get him away from the training tape. I want to see the guys be able to run guys down. I see Michigan D line. I see the stunts, the twists. I watched Texas the first game too. I didn't see all that. I just could see a guy holding a point. Okay, that's great. Give me some pressure inside. So when I look at the two guys, I see a bunch of, as the media saying in the film, we so big. Okay, big don't mean you any good. We're gonna find out this week versus Alabama. Alabama's not the Alabama 2 or 3 years ago, but we're gonna find out. But when I watch Michigan guys up front, they don't look big like I keep hearing the Texas fans say. I see guys with good size, they look slim, and they can run. I see guys at Texas which they can barely put their jerseys on.
Yeah, man. So we were talking about number three, Vance, and already it's one game. Man, it was a really good debut as in terms of being a rotation guy, but already people are trying to move him into the rotation. With what you saw from him, very limited action to get to one of these questions. Let me pull it up real quick. It says, here it is from Scott Thomas. Can Sabb play corner two? Number three. If he's one of the best five, then why wouldn't they try him there? Did you get that kind of, because remember they still, they're still working on the corner opposite Will. I like the transfer Josh Wallace, who had a interception taken from him with a rule I never heard before. So he was inbounds when he picked it off,
Mm-hmm.
but the receiver who was touching the ball was
It's
out of
out of
bounds.
bounds.
So
So
they said
technically,
that makes it out of bounds.
yeah, it does. It does. But Sam, a guy playing safety don't mean you can play corner. That's a whole different position now. I mean, you out there, the movement, the lateral quickness you got to have, the short area quickness, trying to cover, receiver, and break. It's totally different than being a safety playing deep and rolling down. Because a lot of times you're a safety, you got help from the other safety, you got help from the linebacker. Sometimes when you out there corner, you're on an island by yourself, and people not close enough to help you out. So no, I don't think if he could play corner, guess where he'll be right now? He'll be out there right now. So they're telling you right now, his best position after this football team is inside.
Yeah, corners. Hey, look, if you could play corner, you play corner. That's where the bread is, right?
It is. Think in the NFL, when a corner gets older and loses a step, where do they put him at?
Safety.
How many times have you seen a safety as they get older, they put him in a corner? Sam, that's the question they just asked. That's how I look at that. I mean, you can't. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
I hear that. I hear that. All right. So, Vance, got some questions here. So Marion Walker didn't play in this game. I'll give you you guys the and so Kerry, hey Kerry, how you doing? He says, what do Marion Walker have to improve on in order to see the field more? Health right now. He's not healthy. That's why he's not he missed a good deal of fall camp. He was out. He wasn't even questionable for this game. Just has to get healthy, and then when he gets healthy, it's a matter of being able to get some reps, moving over from receiver to corner. Phenomenal athlete, really really smart dude. Um, he'll put in the extra time. It's just a matter of him being healthy, and I think once he gets healthy, that guy reminds me of Woolen, the corner from Seattle, who took the same path. He's 6'4", he's 180 pounds. He's a 4'3", 4'2", 4'3" guy, just like Amarion's, just like that, and made the transition from receiver to corner in his sophomore year, just like Tariq Woolen. So we can hope that Amarion, has that same trajectory. That you just saw Tariq Woolen. He was a 4th-round pick I think he was a 5th-year senior as he got drafted. So it takes a minute as you make a transition like that. But get a young fella some time. That's what I say, Vance.
It takes some time. I was out there not this summer, but summer before last when Willem was a rookie. I spent a week up at their 2-day camp, and I want to tell you what. Early on, he was struggling because he had to learn how to play. I mean, NFL is different from college. The speed of the game, and you look at the Big Ten right now. You're playing against a lot of NFL players, so to make that transition from one side of the ball to the other, how to play with your back to the ball, how to tackle. All that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. If he has a skill set, eventually it'll show up and they'll find ways to get him on the field to play him in crucial situations. But right now, he's injured, as you said, and it takes time to make that transition. It's not an easy transition to make.
Yeah, man. So we got a question. One of the last plays that we looked at, we talk about it in the film study, but it was it was a great play on a sweep, right? You
Oh,
remember
yes.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
play on the sweep. You had your DBs do a good job on the perimeter, and man, linebacker,
Linebackers can.
and that
Little
was
Mike turned it back. Yeah. Oof.
yeah, he turned it back, and Ernest Hausman played through a man.
Yeah.
He played through a block and made the tackle. That dude, he showed that he was a ball player in Nebraska. So we got this question. Gary Grant. I don't know if Gary is talking about that. That was one of the hits that we saw Ernest Hausman making that game. But here's the thing. I saw Mike Barrett make big hits in the game, or at least one. I saw Junior get a big hit in the game. I don't know. To me, this is a good problem to have, Vance. I don't even. Maybe you just have 3 starters right now. I don't know. What do you think?
Man, first of all, we're going to change the word. It's not a problem. Yeah, depth. You love it. Because you know what that does? Because linebackers like running backs, they get beaten up as the season goes on. When you have depth and the guys kind of beat up a little bit, you can kind of save him or take some of the hits off of him. And I look at the long season. The long season is Ohio State. How healthy can we be if we run the course that we ran last year and stay on track? Don't listen to all the media and all the fans. If it comes down to Ohio State, if we healthy, we will beat them again. Have a depth that you're talking about right now and rotating those guys in, it's going to benefit us long term. Because as in the middle of the season now, linebackers are beating up pretty good. If I'm playing 3 or 4 linebackers and I can take 15 hits a game off of those guys, at the end of the year, we fresh and ready to play when it's important. So I love where they are right now. So no, should he be a starter? No. Should he come off the bench where he is? Yes. He's right where he needs to be. I got 2 guys back from last year who played well last year. They're playing better this year. It's a no-brainer. Sam, it's a no-brainer. That's easy. That's easy.
All right, so kicking game, Vance. I mean, it's the best kicker. We were just talking to Garrett Rivas, who was around back. I mean, he played as a true freshman, kicked 4 years, right? He said, anybody tells you there's a better kicker at Michigan than the one that just left and Jake Moody, they're not paying attention. So automatically, that's a high bar to me. It's just hard to live up to the best who's done it at the school. At the same time, it's the first game, but there was a missed PAT. There was a 50-yarder that wasn't close. You concerned about the kicking game?
No. And I mean, I look at one thing. We won 30-3. You got time to get things cleared up. You got UNLV coming to town. They come in town just for the clam chowder and the pay. That's it. So you got a chance to work at all those kinks. Your field goal kicker, everything takes time. All of a sudden, you got a guy who's been there for a while. He leaves, the next guy comes in. There's a lot of pressure right now. So he's adjusting to the situation. We'll get that cleaned up. I wouldn't worry about that at this time. Now, if he was doing that the seventh game of the year, I'd be worried about it. First game of the year, I'm not worried about it. The game's not going to be close. He has a chance to grow, develop the use of playing in the big house.
Yeah, man. And last couple for you. So because we're getting low on time. Uh the touchdown that JJ threw in the corner. It was smashed to the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And he fakes it to the flat and pulls the corner up and then hits the corner to Roman Wilson. I loved it as a from an offensive perspective, as a defensive perspective. I felt sorry for the corner because there's nothing you can do on that, man. I don't know how you defend a quarterback that has that presence of mind like that.
Well, his job was a cover, right? They call it coverage. So he came up. What do you call him? A D who? He a DA, right? He a dumbass. His job not to come up. His job is to stay back where, Sam? What's hard about that? You say he's in a difficult situation? No, now he got one job to do. His job is to stay back there. Now, once the guy crosses the line of scrimmage, anytime you're not sure, you don't come up. That's not Sam. It's not that hard, Sam. It's not that hard. That's somebody else's job. He doing. You know my analogy, right? I got a house. My neighbor got a house. Both houses on fire. But I'm gonna go save my neighbor's house first while my house burned down. That's what he just did, Sam. Come on now, really? See, he's the type of guy right now. We can load the plane. I bet, where you going, son? You're not getting on this plane. You're gonna ride the bus back home. We got you a bus ticket because you decided to do somebody else's job. We're gonna give you the long way home. He just earned a bus ticket on my team.
He gave him the shoulder fake, Vance. He was back, and then he gave him the fake like he was throwing the ball.
Was the receiver still downfield?
Receiver still downfield.
Well, tell me, what shoulder fake did he see? What was he looking at? The receiver is downfield, right? What is he looking at, Sam? Please explain to me what he's looking at. I have no idea. Sam, hey, I had a coach one time in high school. He told all those guys, take all my stuff off right now. He said, what do you mean? Take all my stuff? He had them guys take out there in the gym. Take all my stuff. You keep the job, but everything else got to go. That's my stuff. Sam, what did he see? Sam, you know what I'm telling you? I'm going to take all my, I'm going to let you keep the job. I'm going to take all my stuff off. I'm going to give your jersey, you'll come to somebody else. You saw something? No, you ain't seen nothing. Man, crazy.
Hey, your people out in full force, man. They happy to see you back, man. They happy to see you back.
Hey, I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad to be back. Hey, follow me on Twitter. I will follow you back. I'm live. I am live. I want to get 1,000 Michigan fans. Let's go. Even though I'm from Texas, nobody from Texas follows me anymore. But my Michigan fans, I love you guys. Thank you. I appreciate all your help.
Hey, man, the man's been asking for steaks for the past 2-3 years. Now we have a way for you to give Vance his steaks. So we do these film studies. This is gonna be another outstanding film study with Vance this week, and Al and Devin. They all did a great job like they always do. Each film study has its own support page. Devin's gonna use his support page because he has to get his chinchilla coats, right?
Oh my goodness.
he has to get his. He has some Cartier. Devin's got to do the Devin thing. So need to support Devin so he can get the film study time in. Al, I don't know what Al's gonna do. Vance, you need some steaks and you need some food for Tiki, right?
I need some steaks and Tiki 14 pounds to give him fresh pet. Man, he about to break me. Dog 14 pounds, he 50 pounds. I don't know what the deal with that dog, Sam. It's amazing.
So if you want to show love to the film study, support the film study, be sure to check out this link. I'm going to drop it in the comment section before we go. That is the breakdown and film study support page for Vance. In the meantime, in between time, let's finish off with this last question from John. He said, Vance, how does all the media hype affect a team? have they been getting too much love? You just said they're going to beat Ohio State. A lot of they're the number 2 team in the country. Many are picking, like myself, picking them to win a national championship. How does that affect a team? How could that affect this team?
They have veteran leadership. It won't affect them. But you had a young team and you didn't have great leadership, you have a problem. But right now, I think you have a quarterback that's focused. That's number one. If he's focused, he's going to keep all the other players around him focused. On defense, think about the two linebackers. They're veterans. They don't buy into all the hype. It's the reason why you come to the University of Michigan. You get hyped up as a freshman. But after that, you get used to the big house, the crowds of the Big Ten, being on television every week. The hype doesn't affect you. The expectation is what you do when you look in the mirror. If I can go out there and just be the best me day in and day out, we're going to be okay. And I think with the head football coach that they have right now, Harbaugh, who's a different cat, he don't buy into all the hype. They don't have a problem at all, Sam. They're going to be just fine.
All right, Vance, that's going to do it for this episode. So what's your score again for this game this weekend?
42-2. 42-2. They're going to get us safe. That's the only points they're going to have. That's what I'm saying, Sam. It's like when you're rolling dice, right? And all of a sudden you're rolling a dice and you roll a 2 and you crap out. When they go on the plane, they just crapped out. Sam, they shouldn't even get on the plane. It's 42-2. I just don't understand. Sam, where they going to fly? Why are they wasting that money? Sam, how much is Michigan paying them to come out there to get that whipping? I just don't know.
Hey man, I'm just happy the damn game's not gonna be on Peacock for the review.
Oh my goodness, this
I'm glad I didn't have to watch it live on Peacock. It was bad on the replay.
Man,
on Peacock get the game to break it down.
Man, if I'm the president of the University of Michigan, I'm telling them right now, I'll put me on Peacock again. You put me in Class C TV. We're University of Michigan. Wait, we first class. We A class. They got me in C class. Peacock. Hey, I don't even pay for Peacock. I'm sorry. I'm not streaming no Peacock in my house. Hey, you forget that. YouTube got a chance. Peacock, no.
Hey, Marcus Ellis came in late. Did Vance speak on prime time in the Buffaloes at the very beginning of the show? So I'll repeat to give Vance his credit. The man don't steer. He will not steer you wrong because he doesn't steer me wrong. He told me last week when I said, Vance, I don't think that I know he's gonna get it done. I just don't know he's gonna get it done right now. This is tough one on the road to TCU. Said Sam, Prime can coach and he has a great staff. You don't pick against them. And sure enough, they go out and they beat TCU. So Marcus, go back, listen to the beginning, and we do like 5-6 minutes on Prime and the Buffaloes. But here's another treat for you. Just to lay out the schedule one more time. 9 to 10 every Monday, live with Devin. 12 to 1 Tuesday, live with Al Borges. 4:30 to 5:30 Tuesday, live, or 5:30 to 6:30 Tuesday, live with Vance. Devin film study going up tonight. Every Tuesday night it's going to go up. And then Wednesday, the film studies with Al and Vance. And then Wednesday evening, a new live show. Steady dropping dimes with Devin Gardner and Daniel Horton. If you've never spoken to Daniel or heard him speak for Michigan point guard, McDonald's All-American, he is the basketball version of Devin. So that's going to be a fun show. We're going to start doing it live tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So, Vance, I know you got some things to tend to. 42-2. We got you down. Be on the lookout for Vance's film study tomorrow. And then we'll be back next week for another live. So, Vance, thanks a lot for your time, man. We'll see you next week.
Go Blue.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown with Vance Bedford. We'll see you next time.